We're back in Death Valley at halftime. Back and forth game. Each team had the lead at one time or another in the first half, and Clemson leads 20-13. Woodrow Dantzler continues to make his case for the Heisman Trophy. 154 yards in passing in that first half and 65 rushing.
Very quietly he got 154 yards passing. You always think of Woody Dantzler, you think of his feet. Long run here, he has 2 short touchdown runs of inside 1 yard. But his man has been Rod Gardner. There he finds Travis Zachary, who got lost out of the backfield. But then the fumble by Dantzler, forced by LeVar Fisher, the 4th forced fumble by Fisher this year, gets a field goal and gets NC State back into this game.
And it'll be interesting to see if the offensive line can hold up for NC State and if the defense doesn't get worn out, because you have to resort to the passing game. The Wolfpack really unable to establish anything on the run in the first half.
And the numbers for Phillip Rivers, although not great in the first half, at least he got rid of it when he had to get rid of it. The offensive line for NC State having a couple of problems picking up the blitz, but for a true freshman quarterback, it's just amazing. You can say time and time again how cool he is in the pocket.
Austin Herbert kicks off. Rod Gardner thought about running it out, but instead Clemson will begin at the 20. Here's Leslie Goodell.
Sean, I spoke with both coaches at the half. Coach Bowden said that they've got to stop making mistakes and they need to make more big plays. If they only made 1 in the first half, that wasn't enough. I spoke with Coach Amato. He said they've got to stop silly penalties, stop dropping the ball, and stop making their plays, start making their plays when they have a chance. He said if they can do that, they're going to make believers out of some people today.
Both coaches kind of harping on the same thing. It was mistakes by both. Early by Amato's team. A couple of penalties kept drives alive for Tommy Bowden's offense.
From the 20, 1st and 10. Dantzler handed it off to Travis Zachary. A short gain. LeVar Fisher and Nate Goodson tripped him up. And maybe they're even making believers out of Coach Amato, because he has openly questioned the talent level here at NC State. He was asked during a press gathering how many of his players, starters at NC State, would start at Florida State. He said none. And when he was asked about that later, he said, I was just being honest. We asked him what his players thought of that. He said, in all honesty, I don't care what the players think. He was definitely in charge of the show in Raleigh. Quick pass to Jackie Robinson. And he's out to the 27-yard line. The players, for their part, seem to think it was a motivational ploy on the part of Coach Amato.
Well, there's only so many times you can hear that as a player and get a little sick of it and start doing something about it. The game plan for Coach Amato's defense so far has been they've been using a lot of 3-down defensive linemen because they do have some linebackers who can play. We've already seen LeVar Fisher and D'Antonio Burnett make some plays.
Dantzler out of the gun, guns it for a first down out near midfield. Up to the 48-yard line goes Matt Bailey. Tackled by J.J. Washington, but another 3rd down conversion for Clemson.
J.J. Washington has fought himself into the starting lineup because of his technique. He didn't fight himself into the starting lineup because of his size. 5'7", 174 pounds. Going up against Bailey, who's bigger than the tight end, 6'4", 220 pounds.
20-yard gain, 6 out of 10 on 3rd down now are the Tigers. Doing a couple of 3rd down conversions by penalties against NC State on the opening drive. Those penalties Chuck Amato was talking to Leslie about. Dantzler wearing it out deep for Bailey, and it is intercepted by J.J. Washington. And he stepped out of bounds at the 14-yard line. Looked like Bailey was open, had inside position, but the throw was a little long, and Washington actually behind the receiver had the interception, his first of the year.
Well, Washington had help on the inside and short. That's why he was able to bail out on the route. Dantzler did not read the defensive secondary correctly, goes with the long ball, should have come back to something underneath, and that's a big play for J.J. Washington, who had a touchdown on a fumble return against Georgia Tech, which got North Carolina State back into the game.
J.J.'s first career interception, redshirt freshman from Stone Mountain, Georgia. Good student, 3.3 grade point average in mass communications at North Carolina State. So 2 turnovers, both committed now by Clemson. The first, the Dantzler fumble, led to the field goal at the end of the half.
That's a part of Woody Dantzler's game that he needs to start working on, is that deep ball. He missed a bunch against Duke. And now Reggie Harrington's defense needs to get back out on the field and try to take the ball back.
From the 14-yard line, can they get a running game going? Not on that play. Ray Robinson stopped for no gain. We take a look at the Morgan Stanley Dean Witter first half stats. You'll see the woeful rushing attack for North Carolina State, just 16 yards rushing on 14 carries.
Now you have 2 turnovers for Clemson, but the difference has been the first downs. At the beginning of the game, we were talking about Rich Rodriguez. He said that's the whole philosophy behind this offense. Just get first down, and then you get another one. It just works that way with our rhythm offense.
2nd and 11. Rivers might have been a broken play. The ball squirts out. He's down. Ruled down at the 13, perhaps the 14-yard line. Jason Holloman took him down. Broken play, and they're going to have a broken quarterback on their hands if they don't get a running game going and do a better job protecting him here.
I don't know if it was broken, Sean, but it was awfully funny looking. They were just nowhere to go. It looked like he went to maybe hand it off to somebody. He's back there running for his life with this offensive line, having trouble picking up the blitzing Clemson front.
3rd down and 10. Brian Peterson in motion. Rivers lofting it for Derek Roberts. He was covered by a defensive end, Nick Eason. They have some zone blitz in their package. They have a lot in their packages.
Yes, they do.
Reggie Herring was explaining to us yesterday.
Reggie Herring, when his first job as a defensive coordinator at Texas Christian, he said, I went up in the booth for my first game because I thought that was where I was supposed to be. I was back down on the field by halftime. I've got to be down in the mix, and you see how animated he is with his players.
He's a lone holdover from Tommy Weststaff here at Clemson. Very poor punt by Herbert, just right for a run back by Joe Don Reams. And great field position and a late flag thrown where the tackle was made. Just a 31-yard punt and low. And a 13-yard return. Danny Young, the snapper, made the tackle. LeVar Fisher, their best defender, a little bit slow to get up. And he wobbles off the field while the officials confer.
Dead ball, personal foul on the kicking team, 15 yards, first down.
So this Clemson possession will begin at the 17-yard line. Nearly 3 minutes played in the second half. Clemson with great field position after a late hit on the punt return.
Well, they're going to get Jamison coming in from the right side of your screen, but they also could have called that one. It was a 2-for-1 penalty, Sean.
Tigers are at the Wolfpack 17-yard line. Travis Zachary delivers the stiff arm. Terrence Holt. And Zachary went out of bounds at the 10. Gain of 7 on first down for Zachary in Marietta, Georgia. Down the same high school that produced Eric Zier, the former Georgia quarterback now in the NFL, and NBA standout Dale Ellis.
Chuck Amato talked about those penalties in the first half. One of the adjustments, well, you can't put this offense on this short of the field.
Dantzler down to the 2. He was eyeing his 3rd rushing touchdown of the game. The 2 rushing touchdowns have each come from 1 yard out. Corey Lyons and Terrence Holt saved the touchdown.
One of the reasons Clemson is able to run Woodrow Dantzler so much and not really worry about it getting hurt is because Willie Simmons, their backup freshman quarterback, they have so much confidence in him, they don't feel they fall off.
Zachary scores the touchdown. They didn't waste any time after taking over with a great field position.
Well, everything has to mesh for NC State, and a tough place to play against this type of offense, and they need help from their special teams and no mistakes. A 17-yard drive, that's just way too much to ask of your defense against this offense of Clemson.
2 touchdowns today for Zachary, 31 in his career, now 1 shy of Lester Brown's school record. The extra point good from Aaron Hunt, and Clemson has its largest lead, 27-13 with 11:38 remaining.
You know, Tommy Bowden, when we met with him the other day, was talking about the faithful, the old faithful at Clemson. They just asked at the end of the game, how many yards did you rush for? Coming into today's game, Clemson was 4th in the country out of the spread offense. 1 back and no back. Of course, with a quarterback like Woodrow Dantzler, Travis Zachary having himself a nice season. 125 yards per game rushing from his quarterback is going to take away some carries from Zachary.
Well, a new experience for Clemson, a tight game in the second half. I mentioned at the top of the telecast, they've gone to 5-0, winning by an astounding 38 points per game. They're scoring 47 a game and giving up 9 per game. And nothing new for NC State. Everything has been a battle. They're 4-0, but as Chuck Amato told us when we chatted with him earlier this week, if it weren't for that 18-year-old quarterback, we could easily be about 1-3 right now. Only the win over SMU, the shutout victory, was a comfortable win. Everything else was come from behind at the very end.
I loved what he said about Phillip Rivers. When he first saw him on campus throw the ball, he said, wow, but not wow in a good way. He saw the technique, saw that he was an unpolished guy with a great arm, but they've come to find out. And in any other system, any other school, Phillip Rivers would probably be redshirting, holding a clipboard on the sideline.
Tony Lazzara kicks off. Coach Amato also said Rivers is probably the toughest guy on our football team. We've seen that toughness today. Warren Robinson staying on his feet. Terrific run back by the leading kickoff return man in the nation entering today's action. Looked like they'd get him near the 20. Instead, he's out to the 33 with a 32-yard return. Tackled by Kenzie Ross and Marcus Houskin. College football on ABC Sports is brought to you by Jeep Grand Cherokee with legendary off-road capability, by Courtyard by Marriott, the hotel designed by business travelers, by Grecian 5, a new generation of hair color for a new generation of man, and by Chili's. I want my Chili's baby back ribs only at Chili's. On the 33, they come after Rivers. The blitz picked up. Rivers goes deep, and the ball is offline. Robinson was open. Darryl Crutchfield nearest in coverage, but again, it didn't look like Rivers and Robinson were on the same page with the route. Rivers is pointing at himself.
Now, that was a deep post to Corin Robinson. He had a step on the inside. The safety was late coming over to help. You've got to give him a little room to breathe. He's a freshman. He's not going to hit every pass. He's got that good arm strength that time. Doesn't throw it back to the middle of the field. Goes on the outside shoulder of Robinson, and that post, no way he's able to get back and get to it.
Rivers flushed. Rivers tackled at the line of scrimmage by Braxton K. Williams. Let's get an update from Terry Gannon in Times Square Stadium.
Sean, it is not going to be easy for the #1 team in the nation today. They had just taken the lead on the road in Ames, but back come the Cyclones. Iowa State, Ennis Haywood, the 4-yard touchdown run. The extra point was no good, so right now Nebraska up by 1, 21-20. Sean.
There's the kicking game. Iowa State with no chance misses that.
3rd down and 9. They bring the blitz. Great call. Screen. Ray Robinson. 1st down. Out to the 46-yard line. Darryl Crutchfield chopped him down. But a much-needed 1st down for the Wolfpack. For no other reason to keep that defense off the field.
Oh, we saw earlier the very first drive of the game for NC State. This is a setup screen. We saw a little flare pass against the blitz that Ray Robinson took 81 yards for a touchdown. This time bring the blitz. If you get the ball off, and with the height of Phillip Rivers, 6'4", he can throw over top of the blitz to Ray Robinson.
Corin Robinson could have done a better job blocking there on Crutchfield. That play might have gone a lot longer. Crutchfield got off the block, made the tackle. Flag down to the offensive backfield as Ray Robinson went into Clemson territory with a 1st down at the 42. Chased out by Keith Adams. The Clemson sideline is indicating it's a holding call against North Carolina State.
Well, Andy Vanderveer, the tight end.
On the offense, 10 yards, spot foul, repeat 1st down.
Andy Vanderveer, the tight end, was not able to get the hook block on the outside man, so he ended up grabbing him. And when the defender starts running with his back to the ball, the official sees it every time. He's going to throw that flag.
Vanderveer, backup tight end this season, had 2 touchdown catches against Clemson last year in NC State's win in Raleigh. As a matter of fact, the Wolfpack victorious in the last 2 head-to-head meetings with Clemson. 1st and 26. Congratulations to Iowa getting its first win since last September. Flags down, and they will stop the play. Clemson was in hot pursuit of Rivers. A couple of defenders across the line. We'll find out if they were drawn off.
Rivers wanted to know why they were stopping the play, assuming that Clemson was offsides. He thinks he has a free play to heave one down the field.
Well, Chuck Amato wants to know too. He has his headset off and he's a step or 2 out onto the field.
Offside on the defense. 5 yards. First down.
Well, so Chuck Amato and Philip Rivers are correct. Rivers thinking, hey, I got a freebie. I'm going to heave this one down. He had a deep route deep. He jumps up and says, why is that whistle blowing? I have a chance to take a shot down the field.
Well, you know, the officials have done something when both head coaches are mad at them on the same play. In a penalty-filled game. 6 penalties against Clemson, 8 against NC State. Eric Leak still on his feet. And out to the 48-yard line. Nifty running by Leak. Rodney Thomas and Robert Carswell took down Eric Leak, who's been a very good special teams player at NC State. He's played tailback and wide receiver during his career, and he's having his best season now as a senior.
He got a lot of help from a teammate of his in the wide receiver corps. Brian Peterson was out there. Flanker screen. The other wide receiver to the twin set has to get a good block, and Brian Peterson was out there fighting for his teammate.
2nd down and 8. 9.5 minutes left, 3rd quarter. Clemson, in this battle of 2 undefeated teams, leads North Carolina State 27-13. Rivers running out of time. Hit as he throws. It's incomplete. He got hit by Nick Eason. And the ball wobbled to the ground about 10 yards downfield.
He was winding up to heave that one a deep way. They had another post pattern set up for Corin Robinson, but again, that internal clock maybe just a tick slow against this great pass rush. Last year, Clemson set a school record with 47 sacks. And Eason, nice job never giving up on his rush. If he doesn't get there, and that ball's delivered on time, Corin Robinson may have taken it to the house.
3rd down and 8. Rivers spins away. Throws, man wide open. Brian Peterson. 1 man to beat. Touchdown. What a play by Philip Rivers.
As complete to number 2, Brian Peterson for the touchdown.
You get the feeling, Sean, that this NC State team that is so used to being behind at halftime finds a way to make a play. And Chuck Amato said about this 18-year-old kid, without him, we're probably 1-3. And you see why they're so excited. Brian Peterson, who made a fantastic block for Leak on the play before, pays some dividends himself with a touchdown.
His first touchdown of the season. The extra point barely good from Kent Passingham. And the gritty Wolfpack hanging right in there with the number 5 team in the nation. It's 27-20, Clemson. Philip Rivers trying to lead the Wolfpack back again. At 4-0, they had the one easy victory over SMU, 41-0 in Game 3. In the other 3 wins, they've rallied in dramatic fashion. It took double overtime to beat Arkansas State after being 10 down in the 3rd quarter. They were 15 down in the 4th quarter and beat Indiana. 41-38 was the final. They were down 13-0 at the half 2.5 weeks ago in Raleigh and beat Georgia Tech with that second half comeback. 30-23 was the final. So they know they can do it.
Well, and Chuck Amato knows the guy under center can do it. Philip Rivers against Arkansas State drove into the tying field goal. Indiana, 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns.
Gardner will run out this kickoff by Austin Herbert. Some nice moves in traffic. And he's down at the 24-yard line. Tackled by James Walker, the reserve cornerback. The highly anticipated Gina Davis show premieres Tuesday night. We don't think she'll be wearing that dress she wore to the Emmys, but tune in anyway. Tuesday after Dharma and Greg at 9:30 Eastern Time.
It's a family show, Sean.
It is. I'm just reading the cards, but I would echo that sentiment. Did you happen to see the dress she had on at the Emmys? Very talented actress as well. Zachary the lone back behind Woodrow Dancer. Travis Zachary, nice cut back. That play yields 9.5. Corey Smith made the tackle on Zachary. Corey's been their most consistent defensive lineman this season, according to defensive coordinator Buddy Green. He's a junior from Richmond, Virginia.
Well, Buddy Green has had 2.5 weeks to prepare for this Clemson sprint around offense. And he's gone with a 3-down lineman look. It's Clemson on 2nd and short, just going for. It was funny when Rich Rodriguez yesterday, we were talking to him about the offense. 2nd and short, he said, that's not a free down. I like to build my first downs on top of one another. When you have one, it tends to build another one with this type of offense.
Dancer kept it and picked up the first down to the 35-yard line. Clemson's rushed for 73 yards and 2 touchdowns. Thrown for 179. Blitz off the corner, ball straight up in the air, and it is picked off by Corey Lyons. Great catch in traffic. It was Corey Smith who forced the throw to go straight up in the air. And Corey Lyons caught it. His team leading 3rd interception of the season for the junior from Garner, North Carolina.
And they outnumber Clemson up front, Sean. It's an outside linebacker coming defensive end. The linebacker from the middle, Lyons blitzes. The right tackle has to come down to pick him up. Dancer has to know that he's outnumbered by the blitz of North Carolina State. He doesn't have enough blockers. Get it out of there quickly.
Heck of a catch in traffic, too, by Lyons. A touchdown would tie the game with the extra point for North Carolina State. Rivers throws incomplete. Looking for Derek Roberts, the fullback. Alex Hartley, a cornerback, had coverage. And it looked like Rivers might have had his arm hit. It came very close to it as he delivered that ball.
Well, at least he makes a decision. Doesn't have great percentage completion today. Well under 50% on the day, but because of good decisions like that, Sean, he's a couple of times he's held on it too long. He's learning a tough lesson against his very good Clemson defense, but he's also made some wise decisions like that when getting rid of the ball.
14 out of 32 is Rivers. Has a lot of time this time. Has a man in the flat. Ray Robinson upended after a gain of 4.
To number 5, Ray Robinson.
Dropped down by Alex Hartley, the junior from Tallahassee, Florida. He was the first cornerback in Clemson history to start every game as a freshman and sophomore. All 23, so as a junior, he's in his 3rd year as a starter. We're at Memorial Stadium, Death Valley, Clemson, South Carolina. 59-year-old facility. This is the deepest into a season in the history of the stadium. The 2 undefeated teams have gone head-to-head, and it's a dandy. Wow, what a call.
Yeah.
3rd down and 6, and a deep, slow handoff to Ray Robinson, and Chad Carson throws him for a loss. They were trying to fool him with the run. They haven't been able to run all day. They didn't fool anybody.
NC State averaging less than 90 yards rushing per game. It has not been their strong suit, and they pack everybody into the box. They're in a strong formation with a wing tight end. Formation they haven't shown all day. The only success they've had, and it's been very little running the ball, has been when they've spread Clemson out. That time, pack everybody in and go up against the strength of this Clemson defense.
Well, it would help if somebody blocks the middle linebacker. And nobody did. Chad Carson went untouched to make the tackle. He's a terrific linebacker here at Clemson. And Carson, a great student as well. 3.91 in biological sciences. Good punt by Herbert, out of bounds at the 10-yard line. Just 28 yards, but it does the job. But NC State did not capitalize on that turnover. Here in Clemson, they're cheering the highest record. First appearance in the top 5 since 1982, and they're cheering the performance of these 2 quarterbacks.
And the 2 interceptions by Woody Dantzler have not cost Clemson 1 point. That time, North Carolina State takes over deep in Clemson territory. And on 3rd and 5, a very interesting call where they tried an off-tackle slow developing run play.
Dantzler bouncing outside. Forced back inside by LeVar Fisher. Tripped him up. And Jamison over to help out.
Well, you just can't talk enough about the second half in this NC State defense. They have taken the personality of Chuck Amato, the head coach. Usually, Sean, it's the head coach who has to pull his assistants back. It's been the opposite here. The assistants have had to pull Chuck back in his aggressive style of coaching.
2nd and 9. Zachary with a flag down to the line of scrimmage.
And off to number 8.
He's ahead for a first down at the play stands. Out of the 21-yard line, Antonio Burnett. And Corey Lyons made the stop. He'll turn that down, and it's a first down. I mentioned the number 5 ranking for Clemson, the best since September 12, 1988, when Clemson was ranked 3rd in the nation. They were 2-0.
Offside.
Ironically, it was Bobby Bob
Penalty is declined. First down.
who came in here and defeated that 3rd-ranked Clemson team 24-21. The famous Punt-Ruski game you can see on ESPN Classic from time to time. Knocked Clemson out of the top 5. They have not been back since.
There's Kyle Young, who was at that Punt-Ruski game. He only missed 1 game from the 5th grade at home. He had a broken leg.
He's been every home game since 1986, with the exception of the game against South Carolina in 1990 with a broken leg. LeVar Fisher and Antonio Burnett stuffed the run of Zachary that time. Of course, Kyle Young grew up here in Clemson. You mentioned his brother played here and is now at GA. Grandfather, Ed McClendon, also played on the 1939 team. Oh, my goodness. A little short for Rick Stockstill, the wide receiver coach who signals in the play. 2nd down and 11. Pass caught by Matt Bailey. Short of a first down. J.J. Washington made the tackle. Notre Dame a winner today over Stanford. A lot of eye-catching scores on the scoreboard today.
Well, it's been that way all season in college football. There's a look at Stockstill. Got tripped up trying to signal in the plays. Got a little crowded. Wants everybody to back up.
4 wide receivers on a big 3rd down. 3rd and 4. They bring pressure, and the pass is batted down by Fisher. Well, Buddy Green said LeVar Fisher's our best defensive player, and he has demonstrated that clearly today.
Well, and the defense that NC State has come up with is a 3-down lineman, rush the outside backer. Fisher just reading the eyes of Woody Dantzler, gets up there, knocks it down. Not a big guy, 6'1", 220 or so pounds, but very active. That forced fumble against Georgia Tech that went in for a touchdown late in that game. He had to come all the way from the backside linebacker position to knock the ball out.
11 tackles today for LeVar Fisher. Jamie Somani on the punt. Nice kick, very high. Warren Robinson backed away from it and hit one of the coverage men for Clemson, Kevin Johnson. That prevented it. It looked like it was going to be a fairly sizable bounce and roll for Somani. Just a 36-yard punt. Monday night, we remind you that key NFC Central matchup between Tampa Bay and undefeated Minnesota, 9 Eastern time, from the Metrodome right here on ABC Sports.
This Clemson defense trying to get this 80,000 orange-clad fans back into it. They've been sitting on their hands quite a bit here in the 3rd quarter because this scrappy NC State bunch has hung right with the 5th-ranked Tigers.
K.J. Stone in a tailback. Rivers steps into the pocket. Another flag thrown for a holding call. And the pass too long for Brian Peterson. Harold Crutchfield running in coverage. Either the teams in this conference are very penalty prone, or the officials are flag happy, or both. Because in the ACC, every day is flag day, it seems.
I heard Dan Fouts, when he was playing for the San Diego Chargers, used to always say to his offensive linemen,
on the offense, 10 yards, previous spot, repeat first down.
Dan used to say to his offensive linemen, if you're getting beat, grab somebody and tackle them, because I can get the 10 yards back and help us win the game. If I have a broken collarbone over on the sideline, it's very difficult for me to try to help you win the game.
Stone remains in. And at the tailback slot, Rivers passed through the hands of Brian Peterson. Looked like alligator arms in traffic there for Peterson. Looked to be a catchable ball. Good play reach. Kind of looked like our producer Bruce Clark when the check comes there. The arms get a little shorter as Bruce reaches into the pocket.
I think he had a shoulder problem that doesn't allow him to reach for his wallet is the problem.
Second down and 20. 4:12 remaining third quarter. Three wide receivers, Stone alone back. And Lee can't catch that one. Third and 20. Here's Leslie.
Sean, when Coach Amato was a defensive coordinator at NC State in the mid-70s, one of the guys that played for him, Steelers head coach Bill Cowher. I spoke with Bill Cowher the other day, and he said, I'm impressed by the coaching staff he's put together. He brought with him an attitude that the players have bought into, and he sold the players on his off-season program. I'd say the fact that they have lost a combined 700 pounds since he got to NC State is an indication that, yes, he did sell him on that off-season program.
Well, and you're seeing that pay off in the second half for NC State this year. A very good second half team, very well conditioned.
Rivers going deep on third and 20, and it is incomplete. Looking for Corin Robinson. Darrell Crutchfield had the coverage. In a very quiet day for Corin Robinson, just the one catch.
But here's where Corin Robinson is the friend of the quarterback, Philip Rivers. This ball overthrown Crutchfield. Great position on the deep ball. This is the one guy that Clemson thought, if there's anybody who can run by us. But Corin Robinson, incredible effort just to get a hand on that ball.
Austin Herbert. And some trickery on the return. Joe Don Reams handed it off. Brian Mance with some blockers. A flag down at the 50-yard line. Mance out of bounds at the 25-yard line. There are flags all over the field.
NC State was double teaming Brian Jamison, the defensive end, who was down covering. And it looked like when they had him on the ground, they may have held him.
There are 3 flags on the field. This will be the 7th Clemson penalty.
We have a block in the back on the receiving team. That penalty is declined. We have a hold on the receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the flag. First down.
You had 2 to pick from, and NC State's going to pick the one where the spot of the foul was further back. And that was the one on Brian Jamison, who was hustling down. They had him double teamed. And very frustrating for a coach. When you go look at that film, you'll see that well away from the play, Sean. It was in the tiger paw in the middle of the field, and Reams was already over by the sideline, a play that didn't need to happen.
Cost them 35 yards of field position back to their own 40. Zachary. 3 from one would-be tackler out to the 46. Adrian Wilson finally took him down. So NC State's been penalized 9 times for 89 yards and Clemson 7 times for 60 yards, and there's still 3:23 to go in the third quarter.
That's why there's still 3:23 to go in the third quarter. We're late into the evening.
It's getting a little dark. The lights are on. Beautiful sunset to our west. Flag down again. We'll get one play in without a flag. Nate Goodson and Antonio Burnett took him down.
It's the first time I've ever seen an official help up a player. Maybe if we stop talking about the flags, they'll just go away,
Offside.
Sean.
On the defense. 5 yards.
When you go on the road against a good team like Clemson, a very good team, and you commit 10 penalties, you're asking for trouble. The good news for Chuck Amato is they've won the turnover battle 3-0 to this point.
94 yards of penalties against this offense. It's too much.
Dantzler with a design run out of the gun. He goes out of bounds at the 46-yard line of the Wolfpack. Pursued out by LeVar Fisher.
You know, Chuck Amato spent so long at Florida State as a defensive line coach and then as a linebacker coach, and that was one thing that they really taught at Florida State, was getting off the ball on time, and they allow their defensive linemen to jump off sides every now and then. But today it's been a little ridiculous. They're lining up off sides. You just got to know where the line of scrimmage is at least.
Zachary tackled at the 43-yard line by Jeff Fisher and Brian Jamison. The 3rd down and 3. Down to 2.5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter.
And this is the slowest I've seen this Clemson offense getting to the line of scrimmage. They're taking a little more time off the play clock. Game's a little late, maybe dragging a bit.
Wolfpack showing blitz. They come on the blitz. It's well picked up. Now Dancer has to escape. Throws on the run through the hands of a defensive back. Brian Williams might have been looking to see if he had acreage up the sideline. And that was a bad throw by Dantzler, and he was fortunate to avoid another interception.
Brian Williams, defensive backs obviously don't work on catching the ball as much as wide receivers, but that thing goes right through his hands, doinks off his face mask. And you're right, John, he might have been charged with peeking down the field, seeing how far he was going to take that one back.
4th and short, always have to be alert for a fake against the Bowdens. And so Maney will punt it. High nose up spiral, and it gets a bounce for Clemson. Instead of going in the end zone, it came back a little more than they would have liked to the 11-yard line. Henry Owen, the snapper, down there to down it. Last season, Michelle Kwan captured the World and U.S. National Championships. Now the road to gold begins again when ABC Sports presents the Kerry Lotion Figure Skating Classic. That's tomorrow at 2 Eastern, 3 Pacific. From the 11-yard line, NC State still just down by 1 touchdown. Deep handoff. The running game continues to bring nothing to the table for NC State. Keith Adams, the All-American, who's had a relatively quiet day, made the tackle. He was their team-leading tackler, coming in with 56 in 5 games this season.
You know, Sean, earlier we saw a play that took a long time to develop, and you said Clemson on defense loves that. That play took forever, and Keith Adams comes up from his outside linebacker spot. He's blitzing on almost every down for Reggie Herring. That's the 18th straight game for Keith Adams that he's had a tackle for loss. A new Clemson record, surpassing Anthony Simmons, who's now with the Seattle Seahawks.
He was tied with Simmons at 17 starting the day. Rivers out of his own end zone, throws it up for grabs, incomplete for Brian Peterson. Darryl Crutchfield in coverage.
And you start to see what NC State Norm Chow has had to do with offense. There were only 2 receivers out on that route. They've had to leave everybody in to protect for Phillip Rivers. He's been knocked around, has hung in there, but Norm Chow has just seen enough of this young quarterback. He figures, I got to get my 2 best receivers one-on-one and see if we can't win some battles with just 2 receivers out in routes.
Norm Chow, a native of Hawaii. 3rd down and 15. Rivers again from the goal line. Robinson looking around almost as if to expect a tackler to be right there when he caught it. He's had so little running room today. And the play yields nothing. Charles Hafley, the safety, stopped him at the 5. So the Wolfpack has had some chances here in the 3rd quarter. But Reggie Herring's defense is doing a terrific job again.
The offense gets all the publicity here, and it was funny when we were talking to Robert Carswell yesterday. He said, that's fine, because they're the reason 80,000 people come to watch us play. But this is a very, very good defense. They are first in the NCAA, allowing under 200 yards per game total offense.
Herbert, a very high punt. Reams the fair catch at the 40. The crowd thought the 2-yard radius had been violated by Danny Young. 35-yard punt and no return. Under the circumstances, the best effort of the day by the true freshman punter Herbert.
Robert Carswell, the safety, talked about this defense and how it is set up to go towards the middle. And when you look at their tackling numbers, last year 3 guys over 100 tackles for Clemson, all in the middle of that defense. It's a really good design, Reggie Herring, and one of the big reasons that Tommy Bowden retained him on his staff.
Dantzler's had a shaky third quarter, a couple of interceptions, another one that was close. He's going for Gardner out of bounds. Ryan Williams had the coverage on Rod Gardner.
That throw, another one that Woody Dantzler, he's got such great feet, throws the ball well on the run, but the one place he struggles is in that pocket. Brendan Streeter was the starter last year. Woody Dantzler took over for him. His first start was against NC State. They've modified this offense a little bit because of this guy's skills.
It's 3 for 8 in this quarter with 2 interceptions. Many people thought he was just a stopgap between Brandon Streeter, the starter last year, and Willie Simmons, the redshirt freshman who now backs up Dantzler. He's gone from a stopgap to Heisman Trophy candidate. Zachary couldn't get away from Adrian Wilson. Well, they might not have a lot of depth on this defense, but they have some outstanding individual performers in LeVar Fisher and Adrian Wilson, who have risen to the occasion again today against Woody Dantzler in this Clemson offense. ABC Sports presentation of college football. We'll return after this message and a word from our ABC station. We go to the fourth quarter in this back and forth game. NC State scored in its first possession. Clemson took the lead, and NC State has been trying to battle back. Here's a big play to open the fourth quarter. 3rd down and 11 from the 41-yard line. Dantzler throws. It's caught short of a first down. But the spot short of the 30-yard line for Rod Gardner. Driven back by Brian Williams. It's going to be 4th down and a yard.
I'll give you one guess what Tommy Bowden will do here, Sean.
Go for it.
That's an easy one. Tommy Bowden was raised under his father Bobby, and there's no question what he would have done.
Very tight formation. Zachary, first down to the 27-yard line. They had 2 fullbacks in there. The starter, Terry Witherspoon, and Chad Jasmine, his backup. And they cleared a nice path for Zachary.
And then you get no break because after the first down, here you go again. 17 seconds on the play clock, and Clemson's ready to go.
Blitz picked up. Dantzler lost it for Gardner. Incomplete. Lost it out of bounds with Brian Williams in coverage, and what a one-on-one battle they've had today.
And Gardner is 6'4", 215 pounds. A lot of NFL scouts have been here to see this guy. Always has that left hand out there, Sean. You know, if I'm a defensive back, I would be in that official's ear about, hey, watch that left hand, because Gardner using that long arm to his advantage.
80 receptions last year to set the school record. Big hole, but Zachary stumbled as he was running through it to the 21-yard line. That'll bring up 3rd down and 4.
I don't know if we can give an official stat to the 25-yard line, but that was who made that tackle.
Buddy Green is grateful for the help. About to take up smoking, apparently. Another key 3rd down play. They are in field goal range. And any kind of a score here would be big. Require NC State to score twice to tie or take the lead. Dantzler, quick drop, throws. Gardner has it in traffic. Down to the 5-yard line.
Well, you had inside out help by LeVar Fisher with Brian Williams. Williams is forcing Gardner to the inside, and here comes LeVar Fisher.
Whoa.
And takes out Brian Williams. Got to get his head up and hit the right color jersey.
On 1st and goal, flag down, touchdown. They might have had too many men on the field, the Wolfpack.
On the defense, penalty is declined. Touchdown.
That was my shoulder hurts from throwing so many penalty flags. NC State had too many guys on the field. Doesn't matter against this offense. Tommy Bowden, I think he could have 13 out there sometimes at how well they run this offense and how quickly they run plays.
Third touchdown of the day for Zachary. The extra point is good. And this matches the largest Clemson lead. 32 career touchdowns now for Travis Zachary, tied for the all-time Clemson record with Lester Brown, and Zachary is just a junior. Travis Zachary scored 3 touchdowns. Woody Dancer the other 2, and Clemson leads 34-20. 13 minutes remaining as Ray Robinson brings the kickoff back out to the 32-yard line. Let's get another update in Times Square Stadium from Terry Gannon.
Sean, thank you. Let's take a look right now at the Burger King play of the day. It comes from the Purdue win over Michigan, a record-setting pass by Drew Brees. 25 yards to Vinny Sutherland to the end zone. His first touchdown pass of the day, the 75th of his career, more than anyone else in Big Ten history. Sean.
All right, Terry, thank you. Big come-from-behind win for Purdue. No loss to Michigan. They'll slide from number 6. A week of upheaval in the top 10 with Florida State's defeat at Miami as well. Quick pass for Brian Peterson. Brian Mance chopped him down. They need to find a way to get it to Corin Robinson. 5 straight 100-yard receiving games dating back to last year. And just 1 catch today for 5 yards for the sophomore from Belmont, North Carolina.
Well, give a lot of credit to Reggie Herring. When we met with him yesterday, the defensive coordinator for Clemson talked about this was the guy, the only real guy that worries us. We're going to combo him. We're going to show him a bunch of different looks, things that they have not seen us do all season. Obviously, that plan is working.
Rivers trying to change the play. The crowd trying to make it difficult for him. Rivers throwing the direction of Robinson. There he is. Touchdown! Philip Rivers cannot be an 18-year-old true freshman. He changes the play. It's the perfect call. They get it to Robinson, and they're right back in the game on a 63-yard touchdown.
Well, let's check his birth certificate, Sean, because there aren't many 18-year-olds. What I just said was that they've been doubling, giving inside help all day to Daryl Crutchfield. This time, one-on-one with twin receivers to that side. No way the safety can get over outside route. And you can't fly over in a helicopter and drop that ball into the lap of Corin Robinson any better.
The extra point up and good by Van Passingham. And the Wolfpack refuses to go away. The 1 touchdown game again. Still a long way to go in Death Valley. Well, maybe we've been touting the Heisman candidacy of the wrong quarterback in this game. Philip Rivers, the true freshman, has thrown for 351 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, despite the fact he's been pressured all day, and this game is about as even as it could be. Even though the last 3 quarters, Clemson had a 1 touchdown edge in the first quarter. An advantage it maintains with 12:07 left. Corin Robinson finally a factor in this game.
Well, with that kind of speed and athletic ability, figured it had to happen sooner or later.
And Austin Herbert kicks it into the end zone about 3 yards deep. Rod Gardner chopped down at the 12-yard line. Outstanding coverage by Jericho Cotchery, a reserve wide receiver.
That last touchdown was a 3-deep zone. Crutchfield down here has to get depth off the ball. He doesn't back out quick enough, trying to disguise the coverage. See Crutchfield turn and run, and Meekins, the strong safety's in the middle of the field. He's got no chance to get over there. With twins to the left, the defense of Clemson, that safety, should work his way back over to the right side of the defense. He gets caught in the middle of the field. He can be of no help.
Because there's no reason why the coaches would intentionally, no good reason anyway, allow Robinson to be out there in one-on-one coverage like that. Zachary up the middle, out to the 17-yard line. Antonio Burnett, nicknamed Thunder Dan for his hard hits. Made the tackle, the sophomore from Warner Robins George, who became the starter last year when Edric Smith was injured, and he wound up setting the NC State freshman record for tackles at 124. Smith still working his way back from injury. He's now a backup. Zachary to the 19, tackled by Jeff Fisher.
D'Antonio Burnett, you just mentioned him. We were talking about Philip Rivers, the 18-year-old true freshman. When he set that record last year, he was also an 18-year-old true freshman. Had to get in there with the injury. Sometimes you got to grow up really quick. Philip Rivers, of course, was assisted by being here for spring practice.
3rd down and 3 with 11 minutes remaining. Clemson's done well on 3rd downs, 8 out of 15 today. That's been a key, and they'll convert another on the pass to Rod Gardner. 10th catch of the day for Gardner.
Sean, what NC State has done all day with 2.5 weeks to prepare, they've changed really kind of a 4-3 base defense. They've added an extra linebacker, an extra cover guy. And Chuck Amato, I guess, deciding that I would rather rush 3 defensive linemen, bring a linebacker so I have more speed on my defense. The strength of this defense is in their linebacking core.
Travis Zachary carries for Clemson on 1st and 10 out to the 29-yard line where Corey Lyons made the tackle. 10.5 minutes remaining, 4th quarter. Number 5 Clemson in front of an enormous crowd of better than 80,000. Clemson trying to go to 6-0. NC State is 4-0. It's been a back and forth game, but Clemson has had the lead through most of it after falling behind 7-0. From the 29-yard line, 2nd and 8. Zachary scored 3 touchdowns today. Nice cut up the field. He's tackled by Corey Smith, short of a 1st down. At the 35, they'll need a 1.5 yards to convert yet another 3rd down. Coming up at the conclusion of today's game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund.
I know who I'm going to pick for NC State. That's an easy one.
Philip Rivers, the quarterback, with 351 yards passing. Bernard Rambert, the backup tailback, has the 1st down. That's 10 out of 17 on 3rd down for the game now for Clemson. And that's been the big problem for NC State. In addition to penalties, the Wolfpack penalized 10 times.
Buddy Green signaling in the signals and trying to run some people in. This time a change on the defensive line. It's so hard, even though they don't have a lot of depth, it's so hard on defense just to get guys on the field against this tempo.
You have to signal in very quickly. Rambert, quality gain on 1st down out to the 43-yard line. Matter of fact, Rich Rodriguez, the offensive coordinator for Clemson, told us yesterday there's been talk other teams are stealing our signals, but really, in many cases, we're trying to steal theirs because they have to signal so fast their defense. We can look at what they're doing before we signal in our offense.
And he said if we see too many defensive looks from the defense, we're not getting the play in fast enough. We can't give them a chance to make too many adjustments.
8.5 minutes left. Dantzler dances for a 1st down. And then delivered a hit to the tackler, Brian Williams, at the 47-yard line of NC State. 10 yards on the run for Dantzler, who's thrown for 220 today and is now up to 87 yards rushing.
And he runs through the tackle of LeVar Fisher. Fisher, the best linebacker for NC State, the best defensive player. This guy's no slouch, and Dantzler runs right through his arms.
Zachary down to the 26-yard line. Adrian Wilson and J.J. Washington made the tackle. 21 yards on the run for Zachary. He comes out.
Well, Sean, I think this is the point in the game where NC State has really done a fantastic job with the lack of depth that they have. That time, Corey Lyons just doesn't have enough energy to hang on.
Zachary over 100 yards rushing now with 117. He came out for a breather, and Bernard Rambert carried back to the line of scrimmage where he was tackled by Sean Locklear. This could be a pivotal drive in this game. Clemson taking time off the clock, and now in scoring range, certainly in range for a long field goal try. Dantzler fake to Rambert. Sheds the tackler and throws low for Gardner along the near sideline. Brian Williams, as you would expect in coverage.
And there's Woody looking back towards the offensive sideline to pick up the play. Everything is signaled. He tells the offensive lineman by word what the play is, and then the wide receivers all look back the same. Everybody, all the specialists for Clemson have to know the signals, not just the quarterback.
It's Rick Stockstill who signals in the offense. Saw Buddy Green signaling the defense. Looks like Buddy was telling his defense, don't choke on this play. Big 3rd and 10. Dantzler straight up the middle. Bang down short of a first down. And we've seen already today Tommy Bowden likes to go for it on 4th down. But a field goal here with 7 minutes remaining would be huge. It's going to be 4th down and 2, and it would be about a 36-yard field goal.
And there's one of those plays that's just so hard to defend. Everybody talks about Woody Dantzler. He's like the old single wing halfback where you used to snap it right to the halfback. That time he has a second to pause, to set up, allow the blocks to get in front of him. It's a no back formation, but really it's a one back with a guy who can run that well.
We'll let the play clock run down to 2 and then call a timeout. The longest attempt of the season for Aaron Hunt, the kicker, a true freshman, is 36 yards against Wake Forest, and he missed it. What will Tommy Bowden do? We'll find out right after this. After the timeout, Tommy Bowden is the field goal unit on. Aaron Hunt, the true freshman, with a 35-yard try. They lined up for one field goal earlier today, and it was a fake. Jeff Scott, the holder, ran for a first down. This for a 10-point lead. No chance. Deflected, and it comes up well short. Might have been Adrian Wilson, who nearly blocked a punt earlier and got credit for deflecting a punt. We got a piece of that one.
Sean, you mentioned earlier in the game how good NC State has been over the last couple of years in blocking kicks. That's the 4th one of the season. Terrence Holt, excuse me, get a little confused with his All-American brother, blocked one against Indiana the last play of the game to preserve the 3-point win. So this could end up being another huge one for them late in a ball game.
Well, they'll be muttering about field goal kickers in the Bowden family tonight. Particularly if this one winds up in the loss column for Clemson. Rivers throws a bullet incomplete. In heavy traffic looking for Willie Wright, the tight end.
Phillip Rivers has been sensational in the 4th quarter. 5 touchdowns in 4 games. The 1 interception, and today he's been very sharp, 2 of 3. And of course the long bomb to Corin Robinson to get this game close.
You hear the glowing comparisons. We asked Norm Chow, who worked with so many great quarterbacks at BYU, who does he remind you of? He said Rivers remind him of Ty Detmer. Chuck him out, said Danny Werfel. That pass out to the 29 to Corin Robinson. They'll need a yard for a first down. A big 3rd down and 1 upcoming with 6:26 left in the 4th quarter.
And boy, what a difference 2.5 weeks makes for a true freshman. I mean, he knows the offense. He's got good command of it for early in his career. He's cool in the pocket. We've seen him take heat right in the face. But Sean, his footwork is night and day from what it was against Georgia Tech just on September 21st, 2.5 weeks ago.
They haven't been able to run the ball all day. Will they even try it here on 3rd down and 1? They have 4 wide receivers. They're going to try to throw for it. And it is caught. Flag down in the secondary. Corin Robinson made the catch and went out of bounds at the 33.
Well, we've talked about his toughness. We've talked about how he's improved his footwork. He's got a lot of guts too, Sean. That is a tough throw into traffic, a long out route. He's got a lot of faith in that right arm of his.
Well, it's hard to see anything that he doesn't have, and as a true freshman, it should only get better. He has a bit of an awkward throwing motion, but as Norm Chow said, if it isn't broken, don't fix it.
Who's it on? Personal foul on the defense. Hands to the face mask. 15 yards. Previous spot. First down.
Tommy Bowden going out to say who's it on because they didn't see it over on the sideline. They don't announce numbers in college football to the PA, but they do go over and tell the coach who the guilty party is.
Well, Tommy Bowden's team has had some chances to make it much more difficult on NC State in this comeback bid. And conversely, NC State's had a number of chances now to get a tying score.
It was interesting. Both coaches who talked halftime to Leslie Goodell talked about penalties, and NC State has hurt itself quite a few times today with penalties, especially when they've been on defense. And now it's Clemson's turn to give 15 more yards to this NC State offense.
And the ball out to the 44. NC State has been penalized 10 times for 94 yards. And they are adding the yardage on to the end of the run, so they'll move the ball to the 49-yard line. 5 additional yards from where they had placed it a moment ago. 8 penalties against Clemson for 75 yards. And that's the official who threw the flag, and Tommy Bowden's bending his ear. First and 10. Rivers slings it over the head of Robinson. He got belted, and the North Carolina State sideline wanted a flag. Alex Ardley gave him a pop there. Now face mask to face mask.
I have a feeling Corden didn't go over and say, hey, nice hit, man.
Well, Robinson was disciplined by Chuck Amato after the win against Georgia Tech. He made a throat slash gesture that unfortunately is in vogue with some players today. And Robinson nearly quit the team after Chuck Amato became the coach. Didn't like the way Amato was always on his case about certain things. And Robinson decided to stick it out. And he takes the swing pass from Rivers. Nice moves through traffic. And a first down inside the 40 and out of bounds at the 37-yard line. It seems like only moments ago we were talking about how he had 1 catch for 5 yards. Now he's going to flirt with that 100-yard receiving day again.
And he's still getting a lot of help. Brian Peterson, we saw earlier, make a great block out on the edge. This is just like a toss sweep. Get it out on the edge to one of your best athletes. The outside of your screen, right there was Brian Peterson, who swallowed up Alex Ardley for the entire length of the play.
Robinson does have 103 yards receiving now, so his 6th straight 100-yard receiving day. That's Ray Robinson, the ball carrier, down to the 31-yard line. So Corin Robinson has the receiving yardage consecutive games over 100 yards record all to himself at NC State. He was tied with Torrey Holt starting today, so that's pretty good when you break a record that Torrey Holt, the great All-American, had.
And this guy's just a sophomore. 11 of the 16 games he's played in, he's gone over 100 yards.
2nd and 4. Wolfpack trying for a tying touchdown. The run yields nothing that time. Robinson seemed to be slipping down. Chad Carson and Keith Adams, the 2 All-American candidates at linebacker. And 9 on the stop.
Ray Robinson, a running back who was lightly recruited from here in South Carolina. He's from Hilton Head. We talked to Reggie Herring yesterday. He said, I think a lot of people made a mistake on this guy by not recruiting him. He had to go up the road a piece to North Carolina to find a scholarship.
You'd have to think with 5 minutes left, this might be 4 down territory for North Carolina State. Rivers, quick pop. Willie Wright held on in traffic for the first down to the 25-yard line. He got drilled by Charles Hafley, but Wright held on for a first down.
But the reason this works is Hafley is on a corner blitz. Watch Rivers. He knows it's coming. The safety is deep, so he's got the slant pattern. 18 years old, Sean, I don't buy it for a second. This guy sees the whole field and knows how to make things happen.
Crutchfield on the blitz, and Hafley who delivered the hard hit. Draw play. Robinson looked right, but kept it up the middle. And Keith Adams made the tackle. The son of Julius Adams, who had a distinguished career in the National Football League with the Boston and New England Patriots for 16 years. Julius Adams, now a coach on defense at Fort Valley State in Georgia in Division II.
If there's anybody who's ever a product of his parents, he's a mix between his father, who was a big defensive lineman, and his mother, who was a sprinter at Texas Southern in her college days.
2nd down. And Adams in very quickly, but there are flags and whistles that stop the play, so the tackle doesn't count. Adams has been limited to 6 tackles today, and that's a quiet day for Keith.
Well, what the officials are discussing was whether Clemson was drawn off sides. Looks like it's going to go against them.
On the defense, 5 yards. Second down.
Looked like Mick Eason was across the line of scrimmage. Those of you who joined us late, NC State has already crafted 3 second-half comebacks on the way to 4-0. All of them dramatic victories. This is the best opponent they played this year. The same is true in reverse of Clemson. Both coaches said they know a lot more about their teams after today. Rivers again crossed up with Robinson. He threw it right into the corner of the end zone. And he held up some fingers to Robinson as at first to say, hey, you messed up. But then he pointed himself. I don't think Phillip is convinced that it was his mistake.
You know, that was a corner route. It was a perfect throw, unfortunately.
It landed almost right on the pylon in the corner of the end zone.
And with Corin Robinson's jumping ability, he probably could have got there laid out for it. Unfortunately, Corin thought he was running the post.
3rd down and 3 from the 18-yard line. Then perhaps 4-down territory. Rivers running out of time. Throws it as he's going down. Intentional grounding flag thrown. Terry Bryant had him around the legs. Phillips up and arguing. Phillip Rivers. And now the officials are conferring.
The rule in college football this year just changed, like the NFL. If the quarterback gets outside of the pocket, 5 yards on either side of the original position. Watch the line right there, just outside the right foot of the tackle. Good call by the official. Too close. If he's even making progress, I mean, cutting hairs whether they would have called that intentional grounding, Sean. I believe that was a good wave off of the flag.
Well, absolute chaos on both sidelines right now. And NC State has called a timeout. I think they're going to go for it on 4th down. So they have 2 timeouts left in the key play of the football game coming up right after this. Back at Clemson after 2 NC State timeouts, 4th down and 3 from the 18 of the Tigers. 2 tight ends in the game and 1 back. Rivers pump fakes, lofts it toward the end zone, incomplete. Intended for Willie Wright, and Charles Hafley had the coverage. Well, they went for the home run ball, and they needed 3 for a 1st down. And now, Ed, by burning 2 timeouts, they've really put themselves up against it with 3:21 remaining.
No, we talked about their clock management early, this time going up top. And Charles Hafley does not bite on the, it's called the wheel route, where you run the inside receiver out, you bring the tight end like he's going to run a flat and then turn up. And Hafley is all over the wheel.
So Clemson takes over. 1st and 10. Travis Zachary out to the 22-yard line. Nate Goodson made the tackle. Will they use their last time out here? Apparently not.
Well, Sean, we mentioned at the end of the 1st half when Clemson went to punt that NC State had about 30 seconds run off the clock because they didn't use one of their 3 timeouts. And now they've burned 2 of those timeouts just to run a 4th and 3 play.
I can't recall ever having seen that before. Dantzler hands off to Zachary. Stopped short of the 1st down at the 25. They need to get almost to the 29 for a 1st down. Darius Bryant tripped him up. And again, no timeout. So they're going to hope they stop him on 3rd down, force the punt, and then use it probably after this next play if they can stop him.
You're Clemson, even though you're in this hurry-up offense, get your play, let everybody set, and then let that play clock get down under 5 seconds before you snap it.
Play clock at 5. Play clock at 1. They didn't get it off. Oh, is that a big penalty?
When you're working the clock and you're milking it to go down, and you're in the silent snap count where Dantzler has to lift his leg to give Kyle Young, the center, the signal.
Well, they gave him a timeout, Ed.
Wow. I did not see that.
And then signaled timeout Clemson. So apparently somebody called for timeout just before the play clock expired. College football on ABC Sports is brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest lasting trucks on the road. By Pep Boys, cars like us, people love us. By Dell, providing the infrastructure to power your e-business. And by Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular.
Clemson got lucky there, Sean. Somebody must have seen that play clock was going to expire before the snap. I didn't see the signal, and the officials looked to me like they were going to throw the flag for delay of game.
Well, they did throw a flag, but apparently the officials saw the timeout. Said to the flag thrower that the timeout was first. Long game, nearly 3.5 hours, and still 2:05 remaining on the clock. Penalties will do that. Each team penalized 10 times.
Watch the left side of your screen. The official receiver down here at the bottom. Coming from the sideline, they got the coaches over there. And I believe that was the wide receivers coach, Rick Stockstill, who saw that they weren't going to get that play off, wildly screaming for timeout. And it was Gardner over there, senior wide receiver, who saw him and got it just in time, it looked.
Breathing a sigh of relief. Big difference between 3rd and 4 and 3rd and 9 in this situation. Another key play in this football game. Must-stop situation for NC State. Dantzler going to try to do it himself. Stays on his feet. First down. He ran out of bounds to stop the clock at the 33, but he did get the first down after an 8-yard gain. Looked like they had him off balance behind the line of scrimmage, but he remained upright. He's now rushed for more than 100 and thrown for 220.
And Nate Goodson, the backside defensive tackle, design play. Kyle Young gets a kick out. It's the amazing leg strength of Woody Dantzler. At the open, we saw that run he had against Duke, where 2 guys had him around the legs. He stepped out of it, put his hand down, and kept running. Very similar to that play. Great lower body strength by Woody Dantzler.
We're talking about the possibility of his passing for 2,000, rushing for 1,000. He's got a 220-yard passing day and a 103-yard rushing day. And we keep it on the ground with Travis Zachary. And again, NC State hanging on to the timeout for the time being, with 2nd down upcoming.
And if Woody Dantzler were able to be the first, he would be the first 2,000-yard passer, 1,000-yard rusher. The first 3,000-yard passer, 500-yard rusher, also played for Tommy Bowden. That was Sean King back in 1998 for the undefeated Tulane Green Wave.
Rich Rodriguez told us yesterday when they had Sean King, they were a little more concerned about his running because they didn't feel they had a capable backup. But with Dantzler, he gets banged around. They have Willie Simmons, who they think is a great talent, ready to play behind him. Zachary carries again, and now the Wolfpack will use the timeout. Ball spotted down at the 39, so it'll be 3rd down and 4. With 1:15 to go. Brian Jamison made the tackle. And Zachary was rushed for 129 yards today. And has 3 touchdowns, 2 of them running touchdowns.
And what's really been impressive for Clemson today on offense is that 3rd down conversion. 11 of 19. Their whole goal as an offense, get first downs. It's going to give more first downs, and before you know it, you're moving right down the field, getting in the end zone.
Well, speaking of Sean King, we'll see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday Night Football versus the undefeated Minnesota Vikings. 9 Eastern time, Monday night, right here on ABC Sports. Well, one thing seems apparent at this deep into the season. Now, there is no dominant team this year in college football. Florida State upended today. Nebraska has been #1, but they've really wobbled along. Struggling again today with Iowa State. And after that, you have a lot of teams that have been trying to establish position right behind those 2 teams who most people thought were a cut above when the year began.
It'll be real interesting 2 weeks from this Monday when the first BCS standings come out on October 23rd. Because all those computers that are involved, the top 25 is such a mess. Not only the top 10, but even after that, you mentioned all those guys jockeying for position. If you look at the 2 different polls, they're very different from the top 10 down.
Another must-stop situation. It's virtual desperation time now for NC State. Even if they stop, they'd get the ball back with Well under a minute to go. Zachary. First down and much more. That should seal it all the way to the 43-yard line of North Carolina State. And a flag down at the 50-yard line.
The only thing that's going to help NC State is a holding penalty against Clemson. That's well downfield, about 7 yards past the line of scrimmage.
Dead ball, personal foul on the defense, 15 yards, in the line, first down.
Well, not that it really makes that much of a difference for Chuck Amato, but those are the things that drive a coach crazy. You just don't need that frustration here at the end of the game. And not only that, Sean, but these are things that he really fights against. We talked about Corin Robinson and the problems that those two had earlier. And Chuck Amato cleaning up a lot of those things that go against his personality, not just as a coach, but as a man.
Well, I think they've demonstrated today that they are a legitimately good football team, playing very well here at Clemson, but the penalties and the lack of a running game have hurt them today. And Clemson might not be quite the juggernaut that some thought while they were wailing lesser opponents on their way to 5-0. They had a real tussle today on their home field to get to 6-0. The Chevrolet players of the game are the quarterbacks. Phillip Rivers of North Carolina State, who threw for 370 yards with no running game to work with at all, and 3 touchdowns. And Woodrow Dantzler threw for 220 and a touchdown, ran for 103 and 2 touchdowns. And he takes a knee. In recognition of their efforts, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. A major hurdle cleared on the path to the meeting with Florida State in November for Clemson. The final score, Clemson 34, North Carolina State 27. Sure to tune in Monday night as Keyshawn Johnson and the Buccaneers travel to Minnesota to take on Randy Moss and the undefeated Vikings, live at 9 on ABC's Monday Night Football. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com, keyword ABC College Football. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, continuing the tradition of excellence.